Hey everyone, good morning. We just want to welcome you to our Building Relationships training today. And so we're super excited that you're here. And we have presented this before, and you may have attended this at our elementary district day. However, we're really wanting to revisit this with you guys because now we know that we are remote online learning teachers, and we really want to hone in and give you guys some really important tools in your toolbox that we really think that you will be able to use this year with your online kiddos. So just to introduce myself, I am Maddie Hawkinson, and I am a new ITS, Instructional Technology Specialist to the district. I've been in Rockwall ISD as a classroom teacher. Last year I taught 5th grade ELAR at Hayes. And this year I am serving Hayes, Ham, and Nebby as an ITS. And then here today is Kendall, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hartman, Collins Lake Point, and Reinhardt. So I'm really excited, and I'm hoping you guys are going to get a lot of really useful tools and information from this. So.
Alrighty, let's get rolling here. So you'll see that there is a bit.ly on the first slide. It's called Let's Build Relationships. And so you guys will probably want to pull that presentation up just to make sure that you can save that to your Google Drive. We have lots of great resources and links in there for you. So you will want to access this at a later time. However, today you don't have to pull that up right now. I'm just going to share my screen and you can just kind of hang with us. But we want to make sure that you do get that presentation for all of the wonderful resources in there. Okay, so here we go. So today we're talking about building communities. And so this, we do this as teachers every year, right? We spend, the first couple of weeks really, honing in on building those relationships and creating a bond with our kids. And so now that we are remote online learning teachers, we really need to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable and each other are accountable. And we're just really making sure that we are taking that time to build that community. It may be a little more challenging because we are completely virtual, but there's still lots of options that we have. And we can still take those times, to have those daily or weekly class meetings. And we're going to show you some different ideas for that, and also how to record ourselves and be present for our students, even though they don't see us face to face. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about feedback and how that is important and how that keeps motivating our students and ourselves to keep going. And then lastly, we're going to end with parent feedback or parent relationships, excuse me. And so just really, building those parent relationships this year, being virtual, is going to be just as important as building those student relationships as well. Okay, and so of course, building community is going to start with you, right? So, we're the center of that. We've got to make sure, that we are leading that and setting, leading by example, and giving our students lots of opportunities to share with us and share with each other and collaborate just like they would, in a face-to-face classroom. So all of those aspects are going to be very, very, very important this year. And also, I think that that's going to motivate ourselves as teachers too, right? Being a remote online learning teacher, that way you really feel like you're present with those kids and you're getting to know them and you're still, needing that bond with them. So I think that we will be fantastic at that. Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about today is what are some effective, productive ways that we can video ourselves, maybe a lesson, or if we want to video different ideas that we want to, or prompts or things that we want our kids to respond to. And so we have a couple of options that we can talk about this morning about how to video ourselves. And I think the most important thing that we need to address first is that all of these programs allow us to video our faces on these videos. And I know that that's really uncomfortable for some of us and really challenging. And we're like, oh no, I don't want my face on there. I would rather just have my voice, right? Because then I'm more comfortable and I'm more confident with what I'm saying. And I promise that we will get over that hump. I've had to video record myself so many times over the last 3 weeks. I'm comfortable with it. I'm over it. I still get nervous a little bit here and there, and I still have to correct myself, and that's okay. We're not perfect, and that's totally normal, and we're never going to be perfect. We just have to keep in mind that, these videos are for the kids, right? They're not for us, and they're not going to care if you don't have all your makeup on that day, or, if you're self-conscious about how you feel on camera, they're not going to get any of those vibes. And so I promise with a little bit of practice, we will get comfortable with that, but that really is important. And a really crucial expectation is that we are being present for those kids since they're not seeing us face to face. We don't have those relationships. We need to make sure that we're showing our face in our videos. Okay, so let's just look at Loom really quick. So a lot of you probably use Loom in the spring. If not, I know the curriculum teams, when they were pushing things out, they were using Loom, if you noticed, to record their videos. So I'm just going to briefly play this video for you very quickly, just to kind of point out a couple of different things and differences between the Loom and the WeVideo that we're going to look at. Okay, so just to get, kind of a quick feel of what's going on here. So this is Shelly Baldwin, right? So she's the teacher. She's recording some Seesaw activities here for teachers. And so she's there, her face is present, right? We can see her, we can connect with her. We see who we're talking to, and learning from. And then she's able to share her entire, web browser here. This is Google Chrome. So we can see that, she's able to show everything. She's able to point things out to us with her mouse. So just kind of, it's super easy. You have that nice little extension in your Chrome browser if you've installed that. If not, your ITS can definitely help show you how to do that. It's super quick and easy. And you have this little red Loom flower that will pop up in the right-hand corner of your screen. You get to your web browser that you're wanting to record, you click that Loom button and off you go, right? And you can hit just your screen only or screen with your face. And of course, you want to do screen with our face. And that's what Shelly did here. So just kind of a nice little example. Okay, and so then WeVideo is another option, right? And so I know a lot of classroom teachers have kind of played around and experimented with WeVideo, excuse me, over the last year or so. So I'm going to play the WeVideo just to kind of notice the differences. I would say WeVideo is a little more higher tech level, right? You're going to hear some sounds and just kind of notice to, what's going on the screen. Okay, so just hopefully a couple of things that you noticed, right away. Number one, there's background music, right? She is sharing her screen. She is on video and we can still see and hear her like we did in Loom. But if you also noticed, she's able to use shapes, with those mouse clicks to point out and circle things, and even that little arrow that came in, and pointed out. So you just have a few extra features, and you also can tie your WeVideo account straight to your YouTube. So if you have a YouTube channel, you can upload them there, share them very easily. And so it's nice and easy there, but we can, link that to our students and show them all of our videos. Okay, so our last program that we're going to talk about really quick on how to record ourselves effectively is Zoom. So you can actually record yourself in Zoom, right? You just don't have any participants. You can open a new Zoom meeting in your desktop version. So if you have the desktop version, you're going to see the Zoom icon like this right on your desktop, and that means that you've downloaded that. And so when you open that, it's going to look like this first square here, and you can actually just click on that orange new meeting button and it'll automatically pop up a new Zoom window for you. So you don't have to go through the create meeting process, and click on all the things and do the steps. So if it's just going to be you with no participants, you can just hit that orange button, the window pops open and you're going to hit record. The only thing is with Zoom that I have learned that it doesn't give you that nice little 3, 2, 1 countdown. So just make sure that you're prepared that as soon as you hit that record button, you are actively live recording. And then if you have the web version, so if you just go to, zoom.us through your, Google Chrome, whatever browser you're using, you have this little toolbar pop up, on the right side of the website. You would just click host a meeting. It's the same thing like, the orange button in the desktop. So you just click host a meeting, turn my video on. And again, it's going to pop up that Zoom window. You don't have to worry about participants. You can hit that record button and record your lesson. And then when you actually end the meeting is when it will convert your recording, and you can save that to your desktop or, to a folder or wherever you would like to save that you will remember where it is next time, and you can share it that way. So this was just a quick little video too, just an example. So if you want to click on this and watch it, it's great. You know, you don't see your web browser. It's just a nice clean window there.
Something else to add for Zoom is Zoom works really well with recording your Mimeo, your desktop recorder. So I would recommend, if you're going to be doing lessons where it's really interactive and you want to show, you know, working through something, then you can use Zoom to record using your Mimeo as well, or your document camera, whatever that looks like on your campus. But so they work really well. I know we've had a lot of questions come up about how to use the document camera and record with it. So Zoom's a great option for that.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so moving on with also, you know, building community. So we kind of talked about, you know, some ways that we can video ourselves, right, for our students. So now we're just going to kind of look at a couple of other ways that we can actually video record ourselves in our platforms, right? So you're either Seesaw or you're Canvas. Seesaw is pre-K2 and Canvas is 3rd through 6th. And so we're just going to kind of quickly show you an example of how you can record right in those platforms. So if you're not comfortable with Loom or Zoom or WeVideo yet, that is okay. You can actually record yourself straight in Seesaw, straight in Canvas. So let's start by taking a quick look at Seesaw. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to turn off my camera here on Zoom because I'm going to want to use it in Seesaw here in just a second. So I'm going to stop my video. So good teaching moment, you know, since you guys are going to be using Zoom a lot, in case you're trying to demonstrate something to your kids online, you do have to stop your video in Zoom for you to be able to use your video in Seesaw or Canvas, you know, to demonstrate something for your kiddos. So just a quick little thing that I learned along the way. So I'm actually going to open my activity, and here is my activity right here. So I'm going to click on it. And so Shelley Baldwin created this activity. I did not. So I want to make sure that I am making a copy of her template. So I'm not writing over anything that she has done. So I'm just going to click these 3 dots, click the copy and edit activity. And so we have a couple of options down here. You can add voice instructions and we can add multimedia instructions. So what's kind of new in Seesaw that you guys, I think you would have learned in that Seesaw training earlier this year, but just in case you don't remember, if I add this multimedia instruction button, that's probably how you did that video piece for your students last year in the spring. And so I know I was a Seesaw parent and I had a kindergarten son. And so, you know, when we watched the teacher's instructional video, it was separate from the template, you know, the piece of work that the student is actually completing. So you couldn't see them both at the same time. You would have to toggle between going back to the video, watching the video, going back into the activity. And then if you want to watch the teacher's video again, you had to go back to the activity or back to the video again. So you were kind of going back and forth, and it wasn't super user friendly. But now you can actually, on your template, if we click on this template, because this is where we want the students to actually do their work, I can actually now add my instruction video straight onto this template. So that way they will see it at the same time now. So no more, you know, fumbling back and forth for the parent or the student. So I would click on this video icon. I'm going to click video. And then here I am. I'm going to click the video again. It's going to give me a nice little 3, 2, 1 countdown. And then I would simply start recording my instructions for my students, and I can tell them all of the wonderful things that they're about to do. I'm going to click this green done. And you notice you do have a 5-minute limit up here in this corner. So that's kind of important to notice there. So I'm going to click done. And now I can resize this video. And so a couple of questions that we've kind of gotten along the way is you can only insert 1 video per page in Seesaw. However, this is my 1 video for this page, but I could come down here and add another page where I can also add another video. Okay, so that's kind of a nice feature that's there now. So now I just click the green check and then I'm done. And when I scroll down, I can now see that my video is on my template. So super easy. Hopefully our parents won't get so frustrated. I know, because I kept thinking, man, you know, we'd watch the video and I was like, I can't remember, you know, what Miss Hawkinson said. Let me watch that again. So super cool feature in Seesaw now. So that's how you would record yourself in Seesaw. So in Canvas, I can also have the option to record myself straight in Canvas. So again, if I don't want to, mess with a Loom or a Zoom or a WeVideo at the time, I can just record a video straight into that rich content editor box. So let me get logged into Canvas. Okay, so I can click in this rich content editor box. And now if I wanted to, type out some instructions, I could do that. And then when my instructions are there, I could actually come over here, click here on the record upload media button. So it's like a little play button with a music note button. And I'm going to click on that. And again, a cool thing about Canvas is that your toolbar is going to look exactly the same, whether it's an assignment, a page, a discussion, you're still going to have this rich content editor box. You're still going to have all these same options. So the media button will always be in the same place. So I'm going to hit upload record, and I have some options up here, and I could just click record. And now here I am again, right? So I can hit start recording, gives me a nice little 3, 2, 1 countdown. And then I'm going to give my students all of the instructions that they need, or maybe it's just a fun welcome video, for the first week of school. I'm going to click finish. And I could have the option to start over if I'm like, oh, I messed up, I didn't like that. I could simply click the start over button and redo it again. If I like it, I'm like, yes, that's great. I'm going to hit this blue save button. And then my video pops up in my rich content editor. If you create a video and you come back to this screen and for some reason your video is not there, you just forgot to hit that little blue save button. So just, go to your little record button again, and your save button will be there for you. Okay, so that's how I would do that directly into Canvas. So again, that's kind of nice, save some time, right? We're not having to go record it in something else and then figuring out how to import it right into our program.
Something to add really quick about the Canvas videos is that there's no time limit for recording your videos in Canvas like there is in Seesaw. So there's a small difference there. However, you always want to keep in mind the length of your videos and how long you can keep with student engagement. So anything beyond like 8 minutes, you're kind of getting into the weeds of, are they going to really stay with you that long? So many lessons, even in an in-class situation, should be somewhere around 10 minutes long. So keep that in mind as you're recording your videos. And then also in Canvas, you can record multiple videos within the same template. So that's another difference between Seesaw and Canvas. So you are able to do multiple videos throughout one page, which is really nice.
Okay, so other ways that we can build community, right? So we've kind of, covered all the bases of how to record ourselves now, right? Using our Seesaw, our Canvas platforms, and then some external programs too that we have available to us. So just keep in mind, class meetings, right? Those are still important, even though we're virtual. And we can have them maybe daily at the beginning of the year, or even just do a quick check-in, when you're jumping on to teach those kids, just remember to start, hey, how are you guys doing today? Let the kids share a little bit, have some buy-in, right? And get engaged to their lesson. And then maybe we wean them down to just, weekly. Maybe we just have, a show and tell on Friday, like we normally would. They can show their favorite, object or item, right? Anything, we give them a certain question to answer, anything that's just going to get the kids talking. We also can keep in mind that we can still do individual check-ins, right? So we're still going to have those kids that may not feel comfortable talking in front of all of their friends, and saying certain things, even if it is virtual. And, even if their friend's not sitting in the desk next to them, they still may not be, feel super comfortable with sharing whatever's going on that they're wanting you to know. So we can do individual check-ins as well. I think that's going to be important, to kind of, you can create a schedule, maybe you check in with Bobby today and Sally tomorrow, or you have a couple of kids that you check in with every day. Just kind of, make it easy for yourself, write it down, get a plan. But we can also embed Google Forms. So we can link them in Seesaw, we can embed them in Canvas. So either platform, you can definitely use these Google Forms. Let me go back and try this again. Okay, so let me go back and I will show you what this looks like because I have it pulled up right here. And then you kind of see that I have some really other good Google Forms here that we've attached for you at the end of the presentation. There's a beginning of the week one, there's an end of day check-in, an end of week check-in. So there's going to be links for those that you can make a copy of these Google Forms. So you will have all 4 of them, which is awesome. I love them. They're cutesy, right? Cute never hurts. So, how's your day starting off? Let's do a quick morning check-in, right? Again, they, click on it in Seesaw or they click on it in Canvas. And they just answer these questions. So, as your day begins, complete them. Let me know how you're doing. So first and last name. I love this. How are you feeling today? Right? That's kind of that social emotional piece. This piece is so important, right? So there's picture support with these using these cute, fun little emojis, right? And I absolutely love that because that helps those kiddos, that might be more of a struggling learner or the younger ones versus the older ones. The older ones love emojis too. And, do you have anything to tell me? It can be about school or life. So this is that, that privacy piece for these kids, right? It gives them a private area to share these things with you that they're wanting you to know that they don't want to say in front of all of their other classmates. Were you able to find all of your work for today? That's an important question, right? Let's make sure that they are able to find that. Do you need help getting started with your assignments? Do you have questions, right? So these are all things that we're going to want to know the true, honest answers from these kiddos during these times. So again, you'll have copies, for all of that. You can still, it doesn't matter where you put it, Seesaw or Canvas, you're still going to get a copy of that Google Sheet, all of the answers in your Google Drive like you normally would with a Google form. And then if you don't want to do it that way, or in addition to, right, another way to check in individually is just let's send them a message in Seesaw or Canvas, right? We can just message those kiddos directly and say, hey, Bobby, how are you doing today? How's your week? Are you, do you have any questions for me? And just make sure that we're continually giving those kids those opportunities to share with us individually, right? Especially as they're getting to know their classmates. So this year is just going to look a lot different than last. We know we're kind of a new ball game here, right? We're new, friends in our class, new students, new platforms, so we just want to make sure that we're giving everybody that opportunity. Another way, of course, let's go kind of old school, right? Even though we're in all virtual, you can still send them a handwritten note and drop it in the mail to them, right? Kids still love getting mail. They think that that's super cool and fun, right? And so there's nothing wrong with, sending them that. So they get that letter and they're like, hey, Miss Hawkinson is a real person. She's not just on a computer screen. She's sending me mail. And that's very meaningful as well. And then we have kind of for the collaboration piece, right? We want to make sure that these kids are still able to work together and we're getting that social time in, right? That working together piece. So you have a couple of whiteboard options that we're going to briefly talk about. So you have a whiteboard in Zoom. So I can actually open that up for really quick to show you what that looks like. So in Zoom, you have that toolbar at the bottom of your screen that gives you, mute, stop video, participants. There's also a green little box with an arrow that says share your screen. So if I click on that share option, usually I don't even pay attention that this whiteboard is even there, right? Because I'm just looking for my little Google Chrome window because I want to share a presentation usually, right? I need my Google slide to pop up. But in that box, there's also a box that says whiteboard and it has a blue marker inside of it. Okay, and I'm going to click that and hit share. And then now I have a whiteboard pop up, right? So right now I have it set to where I'm the only one, I'm the host. So I'm the only one that can use the whiteboard, but I can also turn it on. So all of you, right? All of the participants could also use the whiteboard. So you can do that in your class, right? Maybe you're wanting your kids to participate and you want them to draw something on there or add some text on there. So they have the option to draw, right? Like a pen, you could say text. And you can add text on there and the kids have these options too, right? There's erasers, we can change the color of the font. So lots of fun things that they would enjoy with that. And so then I would simply hit share again, and I'm just gonna click back to my presentation. And now we're back. And so if you click on this Zoom right here, it actually takes you to a click sheet to tell you how to get that whiteboard feature in Zoom. Okay, so you can print that off or just pull it up and you can practice using that whiteboard option. Another option that we have is the Jamboard feature. So that's actually a Google app. And so when you are in your Google websites and your waffle, you can click your waffle and you'll be able to scroll down and find Jamboard there. It kind of looks like a J there. Okay, so you can find it there or on your Google dashboard. So these are automatically popping up. These are just all jams that I've been a part of, right? So if I want to open a new one, I'm just going to hit this blue plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner there. And it's going to load a clean whiteboard for me, right? So just like any other Google app, I can come over here and I can rename it. Maybe I'm going to call it Building Relationships. I have some options up here. I can click and I can add additional frames. So if I want more than one fresh, clean screen there to work on, okay, I can add backgrounds. I can just, clear the whole thing quickly and easily. If I have a bunch of stuff and I'm like, oh, no, I'm changing my mind, I can just clear that. And then over here on the toolbar, I have pen. So kind of just like the Zoom, I can write on it. I have an eraser option. I can just have my pointer. And this is my favorite part. I can add sticky notes and I can change the color of the sticky note. And then I can hit save. And then here's my sticky note. I can click and drag. I can make it bigger. I have lots of different options, right? So me, as being a previous ELAR teacher for 5th grade, right? Units of study. Love the sticky notes, right? We use sticky notes all the time. So you don't have to change what you would normally do in your face-to-face classroom, right? Normally, you could post a prompt like why did the author write this story? And you would write it in the middle of your anchor chart, you'd post it up on the wall, and then the kids would come physically add a sticky note to that chart, right? You can do the same thing. You can add text, right? So you can add text, you can type out your prompt here, and then we can share this and make sure, that we have Rockwall ISD, and let's make sure that before we share it, we make it an editor option, right? So our kids can actually edit it. And then when we share it, now our kids can jump on and they can add their sticky notes around the prompt, just like they would in the normal classroom. So love this feature for the sticky notes. Science, we use sticky notes a lot too. Math, you can use this any content area. Super fun. Okay, so moving along, we can still, interact with each other by playing games. Just because we're virtual doesn't mean we can't play games. We can host a game show. These links take you can click on them. They take you to these wonderful templates where you can customize, you can make a Jeopardy. There's lots of different things on Flippity. I will just show you that super fast. So if I scroll down, sorry, my computer's running a little slow this morning. So it gives me all of these fun options. So here would be the Jeopardy, right? And all of them have a demonstration. They give you instructions and a template that you can customize. There's random name pickers. If you want to randomly, you don't want to be unfair, right? So we're going to just randomly pick kids to share board games, matching games, different manipulatives, bingo, tons of resources there for you to look through. Pictionary. So if you click on this, it'll actually take you and it'll generate Pictionary words for you. Because I'm like, oh yeah, let's just pull up that whiteboard in Zoom, right? We'll do a quick Pictionary because we have a few minutes left. And then I'm like, oh, that deer in headlights moment. Oh my gosh, I'm panicking on the inside because I'm like, what am I going to tell them? What word is easy for them to draw? Right? And so I can click on this link. It'll generate some easy words for me. And I can just private message the word to the student who's going to draw that image and have everybody guess. So super fun. Works really well with Zoom. And then of course, Kahoot and quizzes. I still have those options. I can still play them. Just remember in Kahoot, they have to have 2 devices. That's kind of the only downside there. Okay, so they can also do scavenger hunts. You can call out, hey, everybody go find their favorite item and come back. Go find this and come back. And they think that's super fun and it gets them moving, right? They're not sitting in the same chair, for a full 45 minutes or however long. And we can play bingo again, different, story progression. You start a story, everybody adds a piece to the story. That's fun. Who's who? All those games, we can figure out how to adapt them virtually, right? I just have to help each other, use our team and lean on each other and generate some new ideas. Okay, so other ways to interact with each other. So in Seesaw, there's a blog feature. So it kind of serves like a discussion piece, right? And the kids can sit there and respond. They can respond in text. They can respond with videos. So super fun option that's already in Seesaw, right? So something we're already familiar with and using. So we're not having to necessarily learn something new. So they can use the blog feature there. This, if I click on this, I love, it's a super cute all about me slide. So you can actually click on this and we've given you a copy of this template and it's already set up. I think there's like 25 different slides in there, so you can assign a slide to each student in your class and they can all go in and complete, an about me slide. And then maybe when you have them all complete, maybe you have a star student of the week, right? And you can pull up their slide that they've created, to give them that ownership. Hey, we're going to highlight Kendall this week, and I pull up Kendall's slide and, now she is feeling really great and excited and she gets to share stuff throughout the week, right? That's on her slide. So that is there. So if you click on that in the presentation, it will give you your own copy that's already ready to go, which is awesome. Okay, and so Flipgrid is another interactive tool. I love Flipgrid. It is video responses. So I can actually post a question to my class and my class can go on and they can create a video response. And then after they respond, I can actually go back and respond to their responses, right? So how cool is it to, give your teacher an answer and they can actually shoot you a video message back and they know that you actually watched their video and you listened to it and you gave them a personalized feedback response. There's nothing more powerful than that. So I will just click on this just to show you what it looks like. And so we have relationships here, right? That's our topic. You'll create a topic. And then the question is, how do you plan to build community within your class, right? So if I scroll down, it gives me how many responses. And you can see you can add cute little filters to it, emojis. I can add my name and different things, right? So they can make it really fun and engaging for them, right? So I can do all kinds of fun little borders and stuff. And maybe they're not super comfortable yet. So maybe they do, make their face a cute little emoji over here, just to kind of make them feel a little better in the beginning because the students are going to be nervous about recording themselves too, possibly just like you are, right? So we all kind of have to get over that hump. And then, like I said, I could click on any student that I want. I could click on their video and I can give them a personalized video response in return. Okay, so feedback. So we're just going to kind of zip through a couple of ways that you can give students that important, personalized, quick feedback that they're going to be needing, right? To make sure that they're going to need some affirmation, right? They're not going to know in this virtual world, are they doing things right? Are they doing it wrong? So we're going to need to make sure that we're giving them that feedback to let them know they're doing a great job. Okay, so why do we need to give feedback? Because they perform, it's been proven, they perform at a much higher level academically when they have that personalized quick feedback. It boosts their confidence and it also helps make and keep that connection with their teacher because they feel connected to you. What should it look like? The biggest three things to remember: it needs to be personalized, it needs to be positive, and it needs to be quick. So we need to make sure we're saying their name in the feedback so they know that, we're not just mass assigning some generic piece of feedback to everybody. I'm saying, Kendall, you did a great job on this. She knows now that I am personalizing this and I'm talking directly to her, right? There's no question about it. We can list specific things, oh, I love how you had punctuation at the end of your sentences. Keep it positive. We know that even when kids make mistakes, there's always something that's positive that we know that they've done right, that we can elaborate on. And then again, make sure that it's quick. If we wait too long, we're just going to kind of, it's not going to be effective. We're going to lose that powerful piece of it. So in Seesaw, when kids submit work to you, you can actually send them a text comment back or you can send them a voice comment back. Okay, so that's kind of what it's showing us over here on the left. On the right, we can actually comment on their work. We can actually highlight what they've done great. We can actually add little virtual sticky notes here, right? That says, hey, great job, but remember to check your punctuation, right? It's very positive. Just remember that when we're doing these highlighting and digital sticky notes and stickers on there, we're actually editing the student's work in Seesaw. So we're actually changing that submission. And just also keep in mind that when you return that, it does go to the journal, which the parent and the student can see. right? Which of course, if we're keeping it positive, there's no problem with that. Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, you know, to remember you are changing their work and it will be visible to everyone in their journal. You can add your fun Bitmoji stickers, right? So we can copy and paste our Bitmoji directly on the page. You can mark it up. You can add a sticky note. So we can kind of have some options to change things up a little bit. There's even a pen tool. Just again, remember you're editing their work. So super fun feedback in Seesaw. Feedback with Canvas. So we have the same options, right? These are just some little screenshots to show you. We can leave a text comment that you'll have that option, you know, in the SpeedGrader side when you see their work. We click on their assignment, we have awesome feedback options. We can leave a text comment. We can attach a file if there's something that we're wanting them to see. We can leave a video comment so we can actually, again, record ourselves. They see us, you know, they see our face, they hear us. And we can also use speech to text. So maybe you're in a rush, you can use that speech to text, you know, and it'll record everything that you're saying there and typing it out for you. Just remember to always proofread it before you send it. Okay, and then Flipgrid, I can reply with video, I can reply with text or both. So again, anytime you can make a video and send it back for your feedback to your kids, that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, right? The kids are going to get the most value out of that in the, you know, the level of engagement, and they're going to want to keep doing it because, you know, you keep affirming them, right? And giving them, you know, constructive feedback and things that they need to hear and things that they need to learn. So you can do all of those things right here. I love that it's all in one screen here. I can, you know, I can grade it, I can add comments, I can send a video, and it's all a one-stop shop there in Flipgrid. And then of course in Google Slides, I can still, you know, I can just hit insert, comment, and I can pop in a little comment, you know, for them in Google Slides too. So as they're working, I can pop in and say, hey, I love your progress that you're making. You know, I love how you're working as a group. If it's a group project, great job. I love the image you found. Anything like that, right? Or if you need to say, oh, you know, before you move on, let's make sure we go back and proofread and correct our, you know, correct our punctuation and spelling mistakes first. So you can kind of catch them in progress too. Okay, and then Kendall's going to pop on and she's going to take you through parent relationships and take you through that.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about parent relationships and how that looks through a virtual platform. There's a lot of similarities with building parent relationships as there is to those student relationships, just because, you know, it's still remote. You're not going to be typically meeting your parents in person hardly at all, if ever. And so I know for me as a teacher, parents and those interactions sometimes is the most anxiety inducing. You know, most people don't go into teaching to be like, yeah, I'm ready to work with the parents. They, you know, we go in for the kids. We want to work with the students. And so then the parents are just part of that whole package. And so starting off the year with strong parent relationships is going to be essential to the success of your students. So if we move on to the next slide, you're pretty clear that better parent relationships equals higher student achievement. And that's just, you know, proven through research and just, I mean, through time, basically. So we have, you know, these kids are with us and we're nurturing them and teaching them, but they need that parent support. And the key to that is the relationship between you and that parent, especially here in this virtual platform, knowing that, you know, they're not with you. And so really their go-to person or their go-to support team is going to be their parents at home. And so creating a strong relationship with those parents and making yourself accessible to them, making it clear that you value their child and that even though they're not sitting in your classroom this year necessarily, that they're still going to get the same amount of care and concern, and that you're going to give the same level of rigor and instruction to their child, even though they're not in the building with you this year. So just reassuring parents and giving them an avenue to express themselves is going to be really key to setting yourself up for success this year and make it a lot easier on you. Because if you can build that trust and establish that with those parents, then that just makes your life so much easier as a teacher when issues do come up, because they will. And so you would just want to know that you have that relationship to fall back on when those things happen. So So let's talk about some ways that you could begin to create that parent relationship. And one of the biggest ways that you can do that is to have consistent communication with them. Knowing when to expect communication from you can really set a parent's mind at ease, whether that's through a weekly email that you send out or a weekly announcement through Seesaw or Canvas. So both of the platforms have great ways for you to be able to communicate with parents, and those parents will be connected to those platforms. So that'll be kind of the next step after we get students settled into those platforms. Parents will be the next step of inviting them to be able to view and interact with you through those platforms if necessary, and just letting them be able to keep up with what their students are doing in your class. You can also use the messaging app through Skyward to send emails to your entire caseload of students. So that's another option that has always been available and will continue to be available this year as well. Another really great way to communicate, especially through virtual, is just like the students creating a video for specifically your parents. And so just instead of an email, putting your weekly message into a video, talking to your parents, letting them see your face, getting to know you and building some rapport through a video message rather than just text. Because, I mean, we know text can be misconstrued sometimes. There's always communication gaps. And so sometimes that face-to-face in a video just helps you allow the message of what you're saying and what you're communicating just be a little bit more clear for parents, and, you know, makes them feel like that they have more access to you. So you can use a video app just like Loom, like we talked about earlier. And so there's a little example, and we'll play maybe like a 5-second clip. Okay. Okay, so this video was made to help give parents instructions on how to access the iStation assessment. And so sometimes it's just easier to walk parents through, especially in this virtual setting, how to access some of the things that you're pushing out to the students. And so you can use Loom to record your screen and give parents a tour or an explanation of how to access certain things, or if the student's going to be doing something that maybe you haven't given as a new task before, but kind of walking parents through how to go through that process, just like you would for a student. And then also you can use a texting service as well. So things like Remind, and then there are several other apps that also you can download that basically do the same thing. So you don't have to give your personal cell number, but gives them a way to access you through a text messaging service so that quickly they can ask you questions or ask for a phone call or whatever it is that they need in order to get a hold of you. All right, so a lot of times when we're communicating with parents, it feels very one-sided, like you're just giving a lot of information and then there's not a lot of response, you know, especially as the year kind of carries on, you know, parents kind of tend to dwindle into the background. Well, that really can't be what happens with virtual learning. We've got to really keep a strong interaction between us and the parents because, you know, they're part of this web of support that, you know, they're kind of on the front lines of your students' learning. And so encouraging interaction from your parents, having them respond back to you in different ways can really help with making sure that your students are being successful at home. So one thing you can do is to make sure that your Canvas and Seesaw stay up to date and that you're consistently putting things in the same place so that parents can easily access it. For example, you know, put your Zoom link on your home page and make sure it's always in the exact same spot so that if, you know, students are struggling to get on Zoom, then parents know exactly where to go to find that link and they're not struggling through clicking on pages and pages of things trying to find the Zoom link for their child to log in and see you. So just making sure that it's up to date and that it's consistent so that parents don't have a hard time accessing that communication from you. Setting a goal to contact 2 parents each week or 3, it's, you know, depending on how many your caseload is. And so, but we know that even in class, that's good practice. practice, especially those first weeks, that you want to establish a really good relationship with that parent, especially those kiddos that you can already kind of see, okay, I'm going to definitely need to give this student extra support. I can see maybe there's going to be some things come up, and I really want this parent on in my ball game over here so that we can work together. Then you can also create interactive assignments. Having a parent record themselves reading a book and sending it in as a guest reader for your students to be able to listen to on Zoom. Get your parents involved. If you know that one of your lessons connects with one of your parents' professions, maybe have them come in as a guest speaker, on a Zoom or something like that. So just try to find ways to get them to be interactive and involved with your class in different ways. And the last one is host a virtual pop-in for your classroom. And I know that many of you are planning a virtual Meet the Teachers and things like that. So that could consist of you recording a virtual tour of your online classroom, but it could also be you touring around the classroom that you're physically in. I mean, give them kind of a context for where you're teaching from. And even though their kids aren't sitting in there, but here's some of the things they're going to experience, So just making them feel like that they have access to what's going on can really set their minds at ease. So let's talk a little bit more about those digital pop-ins. So some ideas that you could do is to host one-on-one video calls with your families through Zoom before school starts or in those first few weeks. Maybe you meet with them through Zoom for just a few minutes just to introduce yourself, give them some time with you, or just to check in, say, hey, I know that we met at Meet the Teacher. How are things going in the first few weeks? Are there any issues that seem to be coming up? And just having that face-to-face time for exclusively them. So you're giving it that personal touch and making them feel individually valued. And then the next thing is you could create a Flipgrid topic to host office hours for your families. And so I thought this was a really cool idea because essentially it's almost like leaving a video voicemail for you. So you could put a prompt on your Flipgrid like, any questions for this week? And then parents could log into Flipgrid, you send them the link, they log in, and if they have issues or questions that come up, they can video themselves asking a question, posting it, and then when you have the time to come back to it, you give them a response either with video or you can write a comment back to them. And what's really nice is that you can, the responses that you give them are private, it only goes to them. But let's say that you have parents that are asking kind of the same questions. You could post a video there in Flipgrid answering that question for all the parents to be able to see the answer to that. So you're kind of saving yourself having to answer multiple different emails or text messages or however they're communicating with you, but you're saving yourself all of that extra time by kind of putting it, streamlining into one place. So I would just be kind of mindful of the settings that you have for parent interaction. Like if you want them commenting back and forth on each other's, I would kind of think about that as you're setting up your grid and deciding if that's an option you want them to be able to have, or if you want to just keep it between, those feedback comments between just you and them. So, and then we also talked about that video tour of your classroom. And so that could be either virtually your online classroom, or it could also be your physical classroom if you felt like that students would really engage with that, and parents would also appreciate being able to just kind of see where is it that you're coming from. So those are just a few ideas, and by any means I would not try all of them, but I would definitely try to pick maybe one, because even one could really change the interaction between you and your parents and really help them feel like that they are a part of the classroom, that they're a part of the experience, and that you're there to support not just their student but also them, since they're like in the midst of this situation as well. Okay, and then the most important thing, of course, is just to be you, because the bottom line is no matter what you do, these kids come to you and they want you to like them. They want you to care and to be there. And so, many of them haven't been in school for 5 months now. And so they're excited just to have a teacher again and to just be in a learning environment. And so you don't have to be perfect. Your videos can be, messed up. You could trip over your words and be like, oh, never mind, excuse me, let me go back and say that again. You don't have to record the video 50 times to make it perfect. Just let yourself be yourself, because that's really what kids end up liking about you in the first place. It's those quirky moments where we feel imperfect that kids really end up loving us. And then they're like, okay, she's not the most perfect person, and I can mess up too, and it's okay. So yeah, make mistakes, laugh, and then be flexible with your students and yourself, because there's going to be problems. There's going to be technical issues. Something's going to go wrong in your live Zoom. Something's going to go wrong in an assignment that you posted, and just be flexible, fix it, and then you move on. And so that's our biggest hope, is that no matter what, that you stay true to you through connecting with your students virtually. Okay, so then the last slide is some resources that are attached for you at the end of the bit.ly that we posted at the very beginning of this presentation. So we have connected here the Zoom Help Center. So if you're having issues or technical problems, and then also we have some daily, weekly Google Form check-ins that you can choose from that we looked at earlier. So those emotional check-ins that you can use to help connect with students more regularly. So we put some resources in there for you to be able to access as well. And then of course, if you have any issues or things that come up, you can always contact your campus ITS or even one of us, even if we're not your ITS, and we will do our best to help you out. And know that you are fully supported in this new endeavor, and we definitely want you to feel comfortable and ready to build relationships, because that's what you're awesome at. So
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We loved having you. Hopefully you have some new tools in your toolbox and you feel a little comfortable. We just wanted to try to alleviate some of your stress and help you guys out a little bit. And so just like Kendall said, please feel free to reach out anytime. If it's not your ITS, we are happy to help you. Somebody will help you, we promise. So y'all have a great day, and thank you so much for joining us.